As the word education comes, we always tend to think to educate a child in language, mathematics, science, biology, history, the informative part of education. We somehow, the whole system somehow dismisses the fact that this informative education is going to build or is going to enhance the left part of the brain, which is more logic based, and somehow the righter side of the brain, the creative side, the nature given side, is somehow ignored to some extent. What I feel that initially, when a child is a small infant, both the parts of the brain are quite active. In fact, the right is more active. The child is more creative, more natural, more connected to nature, more emotional. Even a touch makes the child sensitive. He is more sensitive to the touch, smell. He knows what mother's touch is. His sense of smell is much more than of an adult. But as the child grows, somehow he gets more connected to what the society educates rather than what his intrinsic nature teaches him. He catches the things which are being taught to him. He loses the creative, intuitive part, but somehow that is also very necessary, because if a person has to survive in this material world with all the stuff going around, with all the technology, methodologies, technicalities of life, he needs to be educated with all the logistics. But when we see a person who is just being educated from that point of view, which means that the left part is enhanced only and the right section of the brain is not worked on, the personality of a person doesn't bloom to the extent what it should be, because we are born as total human beings, and as we grow we somehow become partial human beings. In that, I think art education can really help a person to become total. You can say it brings a harmony to a person's personality, or make him a better sensitive human being, because art acts on the heart center of a person. If we keep these two things parallel, if art education becomes an integral part of our education system, then I think a person will never go into destruction. What actually is expected through a human being? Why we are here in this world? Why God has sent us as humans? He wants us to be as evolved souls. This process of evolution can only come to its blossoming if we grow as a scientist as well as a sensitive human being. Art education has two aspects, what I think. One is to give skill to the child. The skill can be singing, dancing, painting, the skill part of it, how to enhance the way a child can sing, can dance, to teach him the proper mechanism or the academic part of drawing, painting, dancing, which I call the academic part. That is the skill development part. The other very important part of art education is the psyche, the inner psyche, the inherent desire to express. It's not important that every person or every child has that capability to grasp that skill of any kind of art form, because grasping the skill of art form, it requires a little bit of talent, or what we call a gifted talent, or a kind of sincerity in effort, continuous effort. Because if you want to learn Kathak or if you want to learn oil painting, that requires a constant regular effort, sincere effort to master that skill. But every child is not may or may not be good at that. But expression is every human being's right. As I said, that a child, an infant, expresses with scribbles, with singing anything, by dancing like a clown, or just being like nature. So that for that expression he doesn't require any skill, because at that time the child is like a bird. Child is like any animal form, who can jump, hop, dance with any musical note, or draw, scribble, scrape anything on the walls with newspapers, with any stuff around, with food stuff, with he doesn't require colors all the time to express his emotion. He can do it with a banana or with flour or anything. Expression just needs an outburst of energy. So I feel as an art educator that this kind of freedom in medium and expression should be given to every child. We never know when in that process of expression he touches his inner psyche or inner self, which inner unconscious or subconscious self, which he is not aware of. It may be very beautiful or it may be very painful. Every human being is a combination of layers and layers of subconscious and unconscious part. So in free expression, all these layers start to show up, start to come out and express in some way or the other. Because when we see a small child dancing, that child is not dancing in a particular academic fashion, but a child is dancing in totally free style, or maybe weird, but his happiness is total. His expression of happiness is so total. But when that same child grows up and dances in a party to some musical notes where so many people are watching him, he becomes conscious of his body movements or his facial expressions. So at that time somehow he is working more on his being beautiful, his being more presentable to the society. At that time that freedom somehow goes off. But there should be moments in one's life that one gets an opportunity to dance or sing or paint in a total free manner, where the expression has no subject. Another important aspect why art education is so important in our education is that somehow we lose the tendency to observe things, because when our minds are always occupied with studying, with gathering information, with going to the theoretical part of things, we tend to learn things, or we tend to make a repository of information rather than judging things or observing things on our own. We see things, but we somehow don't look at them. We somehow don't stop and observe them. Visual arts teaches this fact that give a pause, look at a thing, be still and observe. If we just go and we just give a glance to thing, we see just the outer part, or we not even see the outer part in total. But visual arts give us or opens up this door of looking at things or observing things with a little keener eye, with a little observant mind and eye. The eyes and mind are getting coordinated in such a manner that we not only see the outer part, but we start to see the inner beauty of it. We start seeing nature, the things of beauty in their spiritual form, because beauty is just not outer. There it has a meaning, it has a spirit to it. When we stop for a while and observe a thing, or keep observing a thing for a while, it somehow reveals itself. The outer boundary of the thing starts to melt away, and the inner starts revealing. So seeing this inner beauty or the inner reality of a thing is quite unusual. This can be done by enhancing the knowledge of visual art. And the very beautiful example of seeing inner beauty or the spirit of a thing is all visible in Indian art, in all Indian art forms. If we talk about visual arts, in all Indian paintings, in all Indian sculptures, we somehow see the outer form, which may not be very anatomically correct or anatomically similar to a human body. If we talk about the human figure in Indian art, but the spiritual concept or the beautiful concept of human form is all enhanced by the artist in full caliber. The trees in miniature painting, all the flora and fauna, if we see all the traditional art forms and Indian miniature paintings, they have a certain design-like quality, or I should say the beauty which eyes catch by observing or by meditating on them. Seeing, looking, observing, and the final stage is meditation. We see a thing, we look at it for a while, then we observe it, and by observing, a stage comes that you become meditative. And when that stage comes of being meditative while looking at an object, and what expression comes out of that meditation is totally spiritual. I don't know whether I am able to express it in a right manner or not, but it's been my journey. And this is the process which I share with my students quite often, that I don't want their artworks to be totally picture perfect or appealing, but to have a certain quality which defines them, which defines their own self-quest. Because art is not actually a final product. Art is a journey we are making ourselves through art, giving time and energy to these art forms, whether visual, performing, or literary. I think the person gets a total balance, a total harmony which is required for him to become a fully evolved good citizen. Otherwise, a very important part of his personality, his nature will remain unfulfilled. Heart center can never be touched by only information. It needs some raindrops, some wetness, some juice which comes from these forms. These juicy art forms somehow drench you and lead you to your heart, and gives you an immense pleasure. So we all are here in this world to have full pleasure of life, which can't be possible just by informative stuff. Nowadays we come across so many therapies. There are so many psychologists who are dealing with students, teenagers, talking to them about their traumas, their personality disorders. That is also a right way, talking and making them open up with their hidden pains or whatever suppressions they have. But what I feel that as a human, we sometimes don't know where we are stuck. What can you speak if you don't know yourself? If you don't know what your problematic area is, because you are not aware of your unconscious or subconscious. If a child is exposed or given opportunity to express him through these mediums, where he doesn't has to put her pain or her joy in words, because everything is not verbalized, everything cannot be verbalized, because when we start verbalizing a thing, we somehow distort it. Our brain comes in, we start to make it, we somehow polish it, or we start to add our imagination into it. It somehow loses its purity. So a session with psychologist can be helpful but cannot be total unless such therapies are given to the child, where he is expressing non-verbally, where he is just exposed to either drums or he's just or some paper, colors and anything, where he is told to use them the way he wishes. Such therapies, though they may look weird, but are much more helpful, and the results are more prompt. The skill development part, the teaching of skill is also a very important aspect, because there we are teaching a child to observe a thing deeply. That will not only make him sensitive to the form he is drawing, but in later run it will make him sensitive towards the emotions, towards the sensibilities of the other person. Learning harmony, balance, proportion in colors would definitely make him more harmonized in life, more sensitive towards other people's need, more balanced in all aspects of life. The need of art education is more important in this period, is because we are somehow losing track of our intrinsic nature of sitting silently, observing, or being one with nature. We are so occupied, the human race has become so fast. It was not so centuries back. The mind of a person, or he is not physically involved so much into work. He has time to sit or to slow down. But at present times, that slowing down is not considered to be good. So if we inculcate this art education in our system, we are somehow slowing down his pace. We are making him somehow sit for a while, observe, giving a pause, and then expressing, and somehow disconnecting him from the technological, mechanical aspect of life. This positive pause in her ever rushing life would nourish his soul or his spirit, that nourishment of which he is not aware of, but somehow enriches the roots which are connected to the very being of us. And the being is being watered by these beautiful pauses. So I think art education is a beautiful pause in a life which takes us deeper, which gives us an opportunity to touch our inner being, and this really needs to be taught in this society because we are losing track of it. A person who's been given this food of art education is more sensitive, more harmonized, more balanced, or I should say more self-aware. I, as an art educator, feels happy about the fact that I love my job because it is totally unpredictable. It is totally, there is no framework to it. I never go prepared in the class. The moment tells you what to start with. Though it might continue for a week or so, what we have started in the class, but initially it is always more or less unpredictable. I never go with the topics. It is like a flowering.